No Raja Janishwaraha. Aren't you the one who has to come and protect us? Immediately, Rama gave them Abhaya Pradhanam. So, if a person, a devotee comes in fear, either the fear of protecting their Jivatma or their spiritual sojourn, then the Lord says, do not worry. This mudra is called as Abhaya Pradhana Mudra, Abhaya Mudra. Do not worry. So Arjuna initially worried. He did not know what to do. He did not know whether to fight his relatives or not. That is when the Lord in the 66th verse of the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita says, Ma Shuchaha. Do not worry. Ma Shuchaha. So if you go to the revered shrine of Lord Sri Varadaraja in Kanchipuram, you will see the Moolamurti of Varadaraja sporting these letters on his palm. Ma Shuchaha. Do not worry. So this is called as Mudra. Of course, in Bharata Desham, it is not gaining so much of value these days. If the Lord sports this mudra, it is called as Varada Mudra, Varada Hastam. Whatever you ask, I give. So this is Varada Mudra. This is Abhaya Mudra. So he did Abhaya Pradhanam to the rishis. Do not worry, I am there to protect you. So whatever has happened till now, from Ayodhya Kandam till Aranya Kandam, has been summarized by Narayana Bhattadri in his magnum opus called as Srimad Narayaniyam. Shrutva putrartikinam khalu bharatamukhat swargayatam swatatam tapto tvam putasmai nidadhita bharate padukam medinim cha atrim natva thagatva vanamati vipulam dandakam chandakayam hatva daityam viradham sugati kamalasya charubho charubangim. So as they enter the forest, Dandakaranya, the first casualty, Sita gets kidnapped by a Rakshasa called Viradha. Radha in Sanskritam means love. Viradha means the one who has never witnessed how love is. So the moment he saw Sita, he didn't see her as a woman, he saw her as a piece of flesh and beauty, and he kidnapped her. As I come to the word Radha, it's a prasangika vishayam. In Upanyasa circuit, if someone says prasangikam, what does it mean? Irrelevant. So, for the word irrelevant, there is a beautiful word prasangikam. We will be thinking it is some holy word. So, prasangikam means though it is not relevant to this portion, since the word Radha came, I am saying. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukra Brahmam interestingly doesn't mention of the word Radha at all, nor the character called Radha. Same is the case with Vishnu Purana. Of course, there are some stray references of Krishna having greater love for one Gopika, but we do not know who she is. Later, in some of the appendixes to the other Puranas, let's say in Devi Bhagavatam, there is a verse, Radhanoti Sakalan Kaman Radheti Prakirtita. The one who can help annihilate our sins is called Radhika. It's a verse in Devi Bhagavatam. But of course, in the Mukhya Pramanams, it doesn't come. Jayadeva develops Radha into a full-fledged concept in Ashtapadi. Now coming back to Viradha, Viradha kidnapped Sita. Sitaya sahaka kutstha tasmin ghora mrigayute dadarshati shringabham purushadam mahaswanam gabhiraksham mahavakram vikatam vikatodharam bibhatsam vishabham dirgam vikrutam ghora darshanam. As he kidnapped Sita, in Srimad Ramayana, the most kidnapped patram is Sita. In Mahabharatam, it is Draupadi. So as she was kidnapped, Rama and Lakshmana start running behind this demon called as Viradha. You will be surprised at what Rama says. Yathaham sarvabhutanam. As he is running behind Viradha along with Lakshmana, he looks at Lakshmana and says, Yathaham sarvabhutanam priyaha prasthapito vanam adyedanim sakamasa yamata madhyama mama. Lakshmana, now Sita is separated from me. I am feeling the pain of Sita's separation. Probably now my mother Kaikeyi will be happy that I am in this state. This is there in Aranyakandam of Valmiki. Probably some of you may have heard, most of you may not have heard of this sentence. Why? Because somehow the Upanyasakas want to project Rama in a certain way. Because these sentences will harm our projection of Rama's patram. So we will quietly avoid these places. But look at the magnanimity of Valmiki and Vyasa. If they wanted to hide such incidents, they could have hidden. They could have avoided Rama hitting Vali on the chest. They could have avoided Rama asking Sita to undergo Agni Pariksha. They could have just cut that portion, then joined the remaining portions. We would have not known. But why did they do that? Because they were honest journalists. You may think this is an oxymoron. How can you be an honest journalist? But they were. They reported what they saw. That is the beauty of Valmiki. That is why Adikavyam Ramayanam is so important. Satyam Satyam Punas Satyam. There is nothing but the truth. They won't hide. They don't want to hide certain. Even if the divine chooses to be born as a human, that human has to act like a human. That is the beauty of an avatar. If the Lord chooses to be born as a human, he is trying to become a pioneer and a trendsetter for all we humans. He says that yes, there are some traits of humans. When we are in distress, we will always find one cause or the other, or one person or the other, whom we can shift the blame on. Correct? If things happen normally the way we want, we may not even be grateful to certain people. We are fine with it. But if things go wrong that very moment, I knew when she came out and saw me, I knew this will happen. So you want to shift the blame post also. Rama had to come to the forest because Kaikeyi wanted, but Kaikeyi did not desire that Sita should be kidnapped. She didn't go to that extent. But this is the natural tendency. We have to accept Ramayana the way it is. Then you may wonder, so then how can we say that he is the Lord himself? Because if the Lord chooses to be born as human, he has to be a human. If you think he has to behave like the Lord, then when Sita gets kidnapped, he should not cry at all. Let Sita get kidnapped. This should be his reaction. He starts crying. That's the human reaction. So we have to accept Ramayana. So he says, Adyadanim sakamasa yamata madhyama mama. Then he says, even my father's death did not cause so much of agony in me. Sita is getting kidnapped. Parasparshat tu vaidekya na dukkha tasminastine pitur vinashat saunitre swarajya haranat tatha. Then Lakshmana tells. See, in Ayodhya Kandam, the hero who emerged towards the end was Bharata. In Aranya Kandam, it is Lakshmana. Lakshmana says, Anathaiva bhutanam nathastvam vasavopama maya preshena kakutstha kimartham parivapsyase. When you have a servant like me, Rama, you should not cry. I will help you get Sita back. So he says, then Viradha, after having seen Rama and Lakshmana chase him, he puts Sita down. And now he kidnaps Rama and Lakshmana. Sita says, see, while kidnapping also, you should have kidnapped all three of us. Why are you separating us? She starts running behind Viradha. Finally, Rama and Lakshmana chop his strong arms. And finally, they kill Viradha. Then Viradha was actually a Tumburu who was cursed to be born. then he gets Vimochanam through Rama, and as he gets Vimochanam, he attains Jnanatvam and says, Rama, aren't you the same one who rescued the elephant in absolute pain from the jaws of the crocodile? He brings forth Gajendra Moksha Vrittantam. You know, surprisingly, Gajendra Moksha Vrittantam is not found in most Puranas except Srimad Bhagavata Mahapuranam. Of course, Vishnu Dharmottara Puranam mentions of that incident, but Bhagavatam mentions of Gajendra Moksha Vrittantam in detail. Those of you who are fans of regional Indian languages literature, you should know that Telugu is they often say Telugu Teta, very sweet language. So in Telugu, in a kshetram called as Vonti Metta, that is where Sri Ramachandra gives darshanam. Having Sri Ramachandra as his Ishta Devata, a great poet called Potana gave a Bhagavatam in Telugu. It is called Potana Bhagavatam. And there are many portions, excerpts of this work which are exquisite and beautiful. One such is Gajendra Moksha Vrittantam. So he says, while the elephant cried in pain, at that point in time, what the Lord was doing in Sri Vaikuntham, he describes Sri Vaikuntham as if he has seen it. Alavaikuntapurambulo nagarilo na saudambuda palamandara antara saraf prantendu kanto palotpala rama vinodiyagu pahi pahi yani guyalinchi samrambhiyai. It seems Mahalakshmi was playing Paramapadam, a game with the Lord, and that is when he heard this Pahi Pahi, please come and protect me. The Lord came protected. I see Gajendra Varada in you, Rama, said Viradha. So Vedanta Deshika says, as Rama entered the forest, he started blessing the rishis. He gave moksham to Jatayu, he gave moksham to Shabari, he gave vimochanam to Viradha. So he granted what they wanted. So Vedanta Deshika says, Rama too became a Kalpaka Vriksha, but not a stationary one, but a mobile one. So he is calling Rama Jangama Parijata, a mobile Kalpaka Vriksha. Now then Rama entered the hermitage of a rishi called as Sharabhanga. So at that point in time, Indra was walking out of the hermitage. Rama got into the hermitage. Rama was asking, why did Indra come? Indra told me that it is high time that you reach Swargalokam for all the tapas you have done, but I was waiting for the opportune time so that I can meet you, Rama. Thank you so much. I have had a darshanam of you. Bye. And he left. Where did he go? To Swargalokam. Now, as he left to Swargam, then he went to the ashramam of Sutikshna. So if you are all searching for some good names for your grandchildren, keep these names. Sharabhanga, Sutikshna, great rishis they were. So Sutikshna, Rama asked, see, I wish to meet a great Agastya. I heard that he is in this part of lower Madhya Pradesh and upper Maharashtra. Please tell me where is that exact location. Sutikshna tells, see, you have to go a few yojanas from here, take left and then take right, you will get that particular ashram. At that point in time, he says, go fast to the ashramam of Agastya today itself. Immediately you have to go to that particular ashramam, he says. Why? Because either Agastya must be leaving to some other place where he should have left. Agastya, after Rama goes and meets Agastya and Agastya blesses Rama and then Rama goes further westward towards Nashik, Agastya must have come to the south of India. So he settled in a hillock called, today referred to as Agastya Kudam, from where the divine river called as Tamraparani rises. How do you know that, sir? Because in Kishkinda Kandam, while Sugriva gives directions for the monkeys to go in search of Sita, he refers to this hillock in the south of India where Agastya is performing tapas, and also refers to the hillock giving rise to Tamraparani. One. Second point, Agastya came down to the south and nurtured the Tamil language. That is why Tamil is referred to as Agastya Bhasha. How do we know that Tamil was nurtured then? Because in Sundarakandam, while Hanuman initially speaks in Sanskritam to Sita, there is a following verse where he suggests, if I speak in Sanskritam, maybe she may not relish or understand. Let me speak in a sweeter language spoken by the common people, Madhuram Bhasha, to which the commentators comment, Madhuram Bhasha iti Dravidim. Dravida Bhasha is what he spoke. Hanuman spoke Tamil at that point in time. Now, third question. Sir, you are telling that Agastya must have gone to the south and developed Sanskritam. Is there more corroborative evidence for that? Yes. What is mentioned in Bhagavatam comes in Narayaniyam. What is that Narayaniya shlokam for Gajendra Moksham? Indradyumnaha Pandya Khandadirajaspad Chandanadrau Kadachit Tvatsevayam Magnadhir Aloke Naivagastyam Praptam Atithyakamam. So there was a Pandya Raja who ruled Madura, which is Madurai. And at that juncture, Agastya comes. And Indradyumna was performing puja. And when somebody comes while they're performing puja, if you do not want to discontinue the puja, you may nod your head. Vishwam Vishnu Vashatkaro Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat. This is how we say, poor Indradyumna, he did this. Agastya got angry. He said, you should have got up, risen from your seat and welcomed me. You nodded your head like an elephant, so you will be a Hasti Bhutam, you will become an elephant. So he was born as Gajendra. Agreed. So Agastya's association with the Pandya Raja is found here. One. Now, another fourth question. Sir, you are telling that Pandya Raja had association with Agastya. Were Pandyas living during that time? Correct point. Now, in Raghuvamsham, there is a place where Dasharatha's father Aja goes for the Swayamvaram of a princess called Indumati. So Indumati's friend Sunanda introduces the kings who have arrived for the Swayamvaram to Indumati. That time there is a Pandya king where she says that he is Tathorurugasya, he is from the city of the snakes. Which is the capital of Pandyas? Madurai. So then how is the Pandya from the city of the snakes? Because Madurai is referred to as the city of the snakes even in the Tamil language. It is called Alavai. Alavai means the city of the snakes. So beautifully you can map geography, history, the history of languages and the terms that we use today with Ramayana. Now he goes to the ashramam of Agastya. Yadi buddhim krita drashtum agastyam tam mahamunim adyaiva gamane buddhim rochayasva mahamate. Now, after taking the blessings of Agastya, while Rama is taking the blessings and is about to leave the ashramam, he tells Rama, this Patni of yours, Sita, whom I have seen, she is next to Arundhati in her Pativratyam. Iyam tu bhavato bharya doshiretai vivarjita shlagya cha vyapadeshya cha yatha devishvarundhati. After they received the blessings of Agastya, Agastya goes further south, Rama goes westward. Now from their journey till Nashik Panchavati, they come across a scavenger bird, a vulture. He introduces himself. He says, my name is Jatayu. Tasmajato ahamarunat sampatischa mamagrajah Jatayur itimam vidhi sheni putramarindama. You know, Kashyapa Prajapati had many wives. I've told you day one itself. There will be this narration where we say this man had many wives, that man had many wives. Now you may ask, why is it right, sir, ethical, sir, moral, sir, was he able to manage? All these are valid questions. Nobody is going to demean your questions. If you have to ask them, you have to ask them, not me. I am only a narrator. So Kashyapa had many wives. Kashyapa Bhumi today is referred to as Kashyapa Vihara, Kashmira. Kashmiram is Kashyapa Bhumi. So Kashyapa had many wives. Amongst them, one was called Kadru. Kadru's children were the snakes. The eldest of them was Adishesha. Adishesha is Ananta. Ananta is referred to as Adishesha. I am just referring to Ananta sitting opposite Thiruvananthapuram's Kshetra Palaka. So Ananta was a Nag. That is why in Kashmira, Ananta Nag, you come across that place. The other snake was Takshaka. Takshaka Shila became Takshila, which is north of Kashmir. Kashyapa's other wife was Diti. Diti gave birth to two sons called Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyaksha was killed by Varaha Bhagavan. So Varaha Moolam killed this particular man. So that place is called Varaha Moola, which is Baramulla. And Hiranyakashipu ruled a place which was the confluence of two rivers. That Moolasthanam became Multan. Until about 1970, there used to be an exquisite temple for Prahlada in Multan in Pakistan. So there are many connections of history of what we learn from our Shastram with the geography that we see today. Now, amongst the wives, Vinata had two children. One was called Aruna. The second was called Garuda. Aruna had two sons. The eldest of them was called Sampati. The younger was called Jatayu. So that is why Jatayu introduces himself. Tasmajato aham Arunat Sampatischa mamagrajaha. So I am born of Aruna. Sampatischa mamagrajaha. Sampati is my elder brother. Jatayu itimam vidhi sheni putra marindama. Jatayu is my name. Then he says, he volunteers. He says, see, these are very thick forests, Rama. Do not worry about the safety of Sita. I will protect her as Mrigarakshasa sevitam Sitam chata tarakshishye Tvaigate salakshmana. Then Rama goes by the banks of river Godavari. Godavari, despite being a river that doesn't emerge from the Himalayan glaciers, it happens to be one of the longest, perennial, mostly deep rivers of the South India. So he goes by the banks of Godavari and tells Lakshmana, Ramate yatra vaidehi tvamaham chaiva Lakshmana tadrusho drishyatam deshaha sannikrishte jalashayaha. Lakshmana, you and Sita talk to each other. Wherever you wish, you construct one hermitage. Lakshmana started crying. Rama said, have I said anything bad? Anything was abusive in what I said? Lakshmana, no. Rama, you said wherever you like, Lakshmana. There is no place that I like. Whatever you like is what I like. So, Swayam tu ruchire deshe kriyatam iti mambada. Swayam tu ruchire deshe. Wherever you like, you suggest that place. I will construct one hermitage. Then he said, Sita and Rama, you go take a walk and come. By then I would have constructed. So by the time they completed their walk, they saw a beautiful hermitage. Rama went into the hermitage. After having witnessed the construction, the quality, the delivery, then he says, Bhavagyena kritagyena dharmagyena cha lakshmana tvaya putrena dharmatma na samvrita pita mama. Hey Lakshmana, by having you as my dear brother, Bhavagyena kritagyena dharmagyena cha lakshmana tvaya putrena dharmatma, by having obtained you as his son, today I realize, Lakshmana, that my father is not dead, but your father is dead. What confusion in this family, sir? Rama's father is not dead, Lakshmana's father is dead. What is it? Now, the commentators in detail. Bhavajnena. Why did Rama say, Lakshmana, by understanding my bhavam, you have constructed this hermitage? He went inside the hermitage, right? Besides seeing the living room, he saw one bedroom, master bedroom. Why? Lakshmana had constructed this bedroom for Rama and Sita. But Rama did not say, see, while you're constructing hermitage, construct a nice master bedroom for us. He didn't say that. Lakshmana did not ask what I should construct, but he has constructed. Why? Because Lakshmana felt, though they have come on an exile to the forest, there may be certain occasions where Rama and Sita may want to have some private conversations where Lakshmana needn't be a part. They are a couple, so they should enjoy those private moments. So he has constructed that room. Had he been in Lakshmana's position, why should I construct for you? Urmila is there in Ayodhya. Let him also talk in the hall itself. Let everything be in the open. Why should he talk in private? Would have been my thought. But Lakshmana was so magnanimous. Looking at this magnanimity, Rama says, Bhavagyena kritagyena dharmagyena. What does dharmagyena mean? The commentator says, see, Lakshmana was nobody else's son. He was also Dasharatha's son. See, if Rama was destined to go to the forest and suffer all that in the forest, it was his destiny. Why should Lakshmana bear the brunt of it? But he did not think that I am also an aristocrat, I am the son of a great king. If my brother is in the forest, I should be there to serve. I am a Sesha. I am there with the servitude in me as my intrinsic quality, nature, he came. Dharmagyena cha Lakshmana. Rama says, until my father Dasharatha was alive, he did everything possible for me. If I had to go take bath, he will keep my towel. If I had to go outside, he will keep my shoes polished. If I had to file my tax returns, he will fill everything in the form and keep. This is what most fathers will do. I don't know how, even the Indian origin fathers here also try helping their children. This is what I understand. They will support their education also. So Rama says, till my father was alive, he did all this to me. After the Jivatma from his Shariram went away, I did not miss my father because Lakshmana, you took his position. You are doing what all Dasharatha did for me. So, in one way, I have not lost my father because you are there to replace him. But dear Lakshmana, you have lost your father because there is no one to serve you. Tvaya putrena dharmatma na samvrita pitamama, says Rama. So, as they lived in Nashik Panchavati, by then 13 years had passed away. From the start of my Upanyasam till now, 37 minutes. In 37 minutes, 13 years is over. That Baki 1 year I have to explain from now till the 9th day. Now, Lakshmana, after having seen the winter season, now they have to see various seasons, right? There is one beautiful poem largely attributed to Mahakavi Kalidasa called as Ritu Samharam. You please read that work. He will describe every season: Grishma Ritu, Sharad Ritu, Hemant Ritu, Shishira Ritu, Varsha Ritu. He will describe. Raver Mayukhai Ravita Pito Brusham Vidahyamanaha Pati Taptapam Subihi Avango Jihvagatihi Pani Mayurasya Taleni Shidati. Beautiful verses. Just give you an example. For summer season, he gives on verse Kadidasa. It seems the snake couldn't bear the heat on the ground. It started going very fast. And finally, it reached some shade. The shade was cool enough. It looked at top. What shade is this? It was the shade created by the feathers of a peacock. So the peacock was looking down and looking at the snake. That time the snake said, see, I know both of us are generally enemies, but let us keep our enmity post summer season. Now you don't come. Raver Mayukhai Abhitapito Brisham Vidahyamanaha Pathi Taptapam Subihi Avammuko Jihvagatihi Pani Mayurasya Tale Nishidati. Phanam in Sanskritam means hood. Hood is called as Phanam. So the one who has Phanam is called as Pani. So the snake is referred to as Pani. So the king of snakes, the king bird in Sanskritam is Indra. So the king of snakes is called Panindra. Bhogi in Sanskritam also means snake. Remember this, Bhogi means snake. Sura Nara Kaga Go Bhogi Gandharva Daityehi. Vishnu Sahasranama Purvangam. We say, right, Sura Nara Kaga Go Bhogi Gandharva Daityehi. So we tell it so fast that we don't know what that word is. Bhogi means snake. Panindra means king of snakes, Adisesha. Bhogi Indra also means Adisesha. Bhogi Indra Shahinam. So, Panindra. This particular example from Ritu Samharam, similarly in Srimad Ramayana, Lakshmana tells, hey Rama, it is so cold here. It is so cold here, Rama. See, in Ayodhya, it must be colder. Poor Bharata, as per my sources, wakes up at 2 a.m. to go take bath in the Sarayu river. See, Bharata used to wake up in the early hours and used to take bath in the Sarayu river and come back to Nandigramam and do Aradhanam before the other people could wake up. Why? The commentator says, because if Bharata got up when all others got up and walked by the streets to reach the Sarayu river, the onlookers would say, look, works this man who has separated Rama from us. He did not want to take the accusations of the people, so he would wake up at 2 in the morning. So, Lakshmana looks at an elephant that is inserting its trunk into the cold waters of the lake and then retracts it because of the severe cold. And looking at that elephant, Lakshmana tells Rama, see, poor Bharata must also be suffering in the cold waters of Sarayu. Immediately, Rama starts shedding tears. Then Lakshmana thinks he has touched the emotional wrong point of Rama. He says, no, somehow Bharata will manage. Don't worry, Rama. And this is how the conversations keep happening. While everything was going smooth, there has to be a take diversion, detour. That is, when comes Yadrichaya, comes one lady, the widowed sister of Ravana, called Shurpanakha. Satu Shurpanakha nama dashagrivasya rakshasah bhayini ramamasadya dadashatridashopamam. She was able to smell naramamsam because though paternally she belonged to a Brahmana kulam, maternally she was a Rakshasa. So they consumed human flesh. So they could smell humans around them. She was the widowed sister. She was widowed by her own brother. Ravana ended up killing her husband. So she was made a widow by her own brother. So she was stationed at a region very close to that of Nagpur today. Nagpur is called Janasthana. That is where her half brothers Khara, Dushana and Trishiras were. So she was stationed very close to it. From there she walked till Nashik Panchavati. So she could smell Naramamsam. She was called Shurpanakha. Shurpa in Sanskritam means winnowing fan. Tamil podakkaradunu solluva. Nella adichittu ipdi neenga podachena, so the husk will come from the grain. There will be one moram. What is moram? Moram. Okay, what is it called in English? I am calling it winnowing fan. What is it? Sieve is jallada. That is jallada. That will, you are getting this. You keep the husk and the grain together, and as you do it, the husk will fall, the lighter material will fall. So the side of the fan towards you will be small. Towards the end, it will be large. This is called Shurpa in Sanskritam. So the one who had nails which wouldn't go straight and would grow sidewards was called Shurpa Nakha. Her nakham used to grow sidewards. See, while I used to explain this way back, I used to think, is this all possible? But you know, in Bombay, while I stayed, Mumbai, while I stayed, I used to have a friend of mine. Once in 3 months, he used to get one surgery done to take the nail out, because his nail will not grow straight. It will grow sidewards. So beyond 3 months, it will tear open the skin and come. So they used to remove that nail. So this is a disorder in certain people, which I personally have seen. So she was called Shurpanakha. See, that family of Pulastya, Vishravas, had some genetic problem. If you see Shurpanakha, she had this. If you see Kumbhakarna, he was a gigantism. If you see Dashanana, he had more structures than what normal people have. Kubera was their half brother. He had distorted eyes. So all this must have been a problem in the genetics there. Now Shurpanakha came. As Shurpanakha walks towards Rama, Valmiki makes a distinct comparison between the two. Sumukham, Rama Sumukham, Durmukhi, Ramam Vrittamadhyam. Rama's Vrittamadhyam. Vrittamadhyam means his hip is so thin. If you keep these two fingers, the hip should go in this gap. It is called Vrittamadhyam. How was she? As Mahodari. So you need 3-4 people to embrace us. Vishalaksham, he had large eyes. Virupakshi, Sukesham, he had Sukesham, good curly hair locks. Tamra Murdhaja, she had colored hair streaks. Tamra Murdhaja means red colored streaked hair. Tamra Murdhaja, Priyarupam Virupasa, Suswaram Bhairavasvana, Tarunam Daruna Vriddha, Dakshinam Vamabhashini. Dakshinam Vamabhashini. Dakshinam means in Sanskritam south. Remember, Dakshinam also means right. You go around the Lord, it is called Dakshinam. Your right is towards the Lord. Dakshinam also means south. What is Dakshinam in English? What is right called? Dexterous. If you are a right-handed person, you are called dexterous. Dexter means skilled, which also means good worded. You will use only auspicious words. So he was Dakshinam, which means he will use only good words. How was she? Vamabhashini. Chennai auto driver. Vamabhashini. Nyaya vrittam sudur vritta. Priyam apriya darshana. This is how Valmiki describes. But Kamban goes one step ahead, telling that she came in the disguise of a damsel. But in Valmiki Ramayana, there is no such reference. Now, as Shurpanakha comes towards Rama, because see, anybody can fall in love with Rama, he was so handsome. As she comes to Rama's place, she asks, can you please tell who you are? Asid Dasharatho Nama Raja Tridasha Vikramaha. See, look at her audacity. She is coming to the hermitage of Rama and she's asking, tell me about yourself. Imagine somebody knocks at your door, you open the door. Sir, who are you? He's asking us. But Rama says, Dasyamagrajah putro Ramo nama janaishrutaha. My name is Ram. See, introduction should be very crisp. See, way back in 1945, one great Mahatma, he published a 7-volume series in Ramayana. That grandson had a sister who was married in Bangalore. Her brother's son is me. Giving you an example. So you should never give introductions in such detailed, lavish manner. If you end up asking some people who you are, they have to tell I'm so and so, I've come here, I live here, that's all. See, 1945, if they begin, by the time they complete 6 generations, see, in those days when there used to be a phenomenon called assisted marriages. They used to go to the girl's place. The girl had to make one sweet, one car. She had to, poor thing, walk all the way to the hall, and there will be a huge family sitting there. The great grandfather, grandfather, father, all of them surviving, they will all be there. So I will just mention this in Tamil. For those of you who do not know Tamil, will also understand this. See, all our regional languages are well connected. You have to just take off that screen from your heads or the veil from your heads that I cannot understand the other language. If you vow that you can understand, you can understand. Our languages are very well connected. அவரோட பிள்ளை மாப்பிள்ளையோட தாத்தா இவர் ராமாயணம் பப்ளிஷ் பண்ணார், மாப்பிள்ளையோட அப்பா இவர் பாரதம் பப்ளிஷ் பண்ணார், மாப்பிள்ளை என்ன பண்ணிருக்காரு? ஒண்ணும் பண்ணல, பண்ணிருக்காருன்னு பேசுறார். So Rama introduces himself. Tasyamagrajah putro Ramo nama janaishrutaha. I am Rama. Then he asks, now can you give your introduction? Tvam tu vedi tumichami kasya tvam kasi kasya va. She tells, aham Shurpanakha nama rakshasi kamarupini. My name is Shurpanakha. Is this the way she introduces? She has come to propose. This is the way she proposes. Aham Shurpanakha nama rakshasi. I am a demoness called Shurpanakha. Kamarupini. I can take any form. Ravano nama me bhrata. She calls herself as a sister of Ravana. Ravana was a famous person accused in Me Too 7 times. Look at her. Ravano nama me bhrata. Yadive shrotramagatah. Pravriddha nidrasya sada. Kumbhakarno mahabala. I've got a great brother who keeps sleeping. See, in those days, they used to say, if you want a marriage to happen, you can tell as many lies as possible. Which means if you have such people at house who are always sleeping, not working, you will never tell all that during this process of assisted marriages. Later they will find out. So, Pravriddha nidrasya sada Kumbhakarno mahabalaha. I have a brother called Kumbhakarna who keeps sleeping. For her it was a great virtue. Then she says, the only blot in our family is one man who follows rules. Vibhishanastu dharmatma. I don't know how he is a part of our family. He follows rules. He shows his hand and also puts the indicator. Vibhishanastu dharmatma natu rakshasa cheshtitaha. And Rama said, thank you for your conversation. Very simple, Rama. I want it to be simple and plain. I want to marry you. Rama said, it has been only 2 minutes since we got to know of each other and you want to marry me? Samupetasmi bhavena bhartaram purushottamam aham prabhava sampanna svachchanda varagamini. She tells, I need to marry you. Rama says, see, I am already married. She says, I have no problem. I have to marry you, that's all. Rama says, see, how much ever I am trying to convince you, you are not getting convinced. Look at me, I am dark. Look at my brother, fair and lovely. So you go and propose to my brother. Apurvi bhagyaya charthi taruna priyadarshana anurupascha te bharta rupasya asya bhavishyati Srimad Kritadarascha. He tells Shurpanaka, look at my brother, he does not have a wife. Sriman Akritadarascha. If you take up the original translation of any Ramayana, it will say, thereby Rama said, the one without a wife is my brother of fair complexion called Lakshmana, close quotes. This is how translation will be, correct? Now immediately they say, see, I told you Rama lies. Correct? Akritadaraha means one who doesn't have a wife. Doesn't that mean that Rama has lied? Remember, Ramayana doesn't come to us in prose. It comes as poetry. In poetry, if you have to fit the content to certain meters, you can chop off certain prefixes and suffixes and allow the reader to add those prefixes and suffixes. See, Alvar in the Tamil tradition, while he addresses the Lord, says Kunda Vennum. There is no name called Kunda for the Lord. The commentator says, add Vai or Mu before it. Vai Kunda or Mukunda before it. So here what Rama says, Akrita Darascha, one who doesn't have a wife. The commentator says, add the word Saha. As Sahakrita Darascha, the one who does not have the wife along. It doesn't mean the one who doesn't have a wife. Here there is no wife. So Shurpanaka goes, same dialogue, whatever she produced to Rama, she tells Lakshmana, I wish to marry you, I am no. Lakshmana says, see, in this house I am washing utensils. I am the dishwasher of this house. If you marry me, you will have to end up washing half the utensils. Let us share. Let us be social media people. Let us share. Then while she was being played like a shuttlecock from Rama and Lakshmana, she was wondering, why are these men not liking me? Suddenly she saw one beautiful lady come out of the hermitage. She thought, this is the lady whom Rama referred to as his wife, and she is the cause for the separation of me from my lover. If I end up eating her, problems will get solved. So she started running towards Sita. Sita, like a banana plant in a thunderstorm. I'm telling it on the correct day. This is what Valmiki describes. A banana plant in a thunderstorm. She started trembling in fear. Lakshmana, in order to protect his sister-in-law, who was his mother, took the arrow and ran towards Shurpanaka. So Shurpanaka was running towards Sita, Lakshmana goes in the middle. In the process, her nose gets trimmed. So Shurpanaka, the moment she sees that she has been disfigured, out of that agony and insult, she goes to her half-brothers called Khara, Dushyanth and Trishidas, who have been stationed in Janasthana. Anna! She cries because her nose is trimmed. She will not get pure sound. Now remember, when we speak in most languages, let it be in English or many of our Indian languages, there are certain letters that we have to get nasally. From the nasal, there will be a nasal twang to it. Let's say a Malayalam line. Endana. It comes from here. Endana. Deevangal. Nakshatra Deevangal. So now, imagine her nose has been trimmed. Can she use letters which have this nasal twang? No. So, Narayana Bhattadri, 450 years before in India, wrote a poem called as Shurpanaka Pralapam. What all she went and lamented to her brothers. The entire poem will not have letters which your nose has to use. It will be devoid of letters where your nose has to be deployed. It's called Shurpanaka Pralapam. You don't have to use your nose at all. Look at how different forms of poetry has come from Bharatadesha. See, Shurpanaka cannot use her nasal, so the poem will not have any letter where you have to use angam, bangam, nga will never come in that poem. So it is called Shurpanaka Pralapa. What did she go and lament to her brothers? She must go and say, that wretched man called Rama has disfigured me. Lakshmana has disfigured me, she should tell. She tells, my dear brothers, please know that I saw two handsome men with lotus-like eyes, long arms, extremely handsome, who chopped my nose. Tarunau, Rupa Sampannau, Sukumarau, Mahavalau, Pundarika Vishalakshau, Chirakrishna, Jinambarau. Why? Because Rama's beauty was so captivating that he may not end up having testimonials just from his friends and relatives. He will have testimonials even from the worst of his enemies. Shatroho Prathyata Viryasya Ranjaniyasya Vikramaihi. So in Srimad Ramayanam, there is a paddhati to elucidate three different poems. The first one is called as Shurpanaka Stuti. Tarunau, Rupa Sampannau, Sukumarau, Mahavalau, Pundarika Vishalakshau, Chirakrishnaji Nambarau. Second is Tara Stuti. Upon understanding that her husband Vali is dead, she wants to come and admonish Rama, but ends up praising and saluting Rama's valor and beauty. It is called Tara Stuti. Third is Mandodari. While she understands that her husband is dead, she wants to come and curse Rama, but she says, Vyaktamesha Mahayogi, Paramatma, Sanatana, Anadi Madhyanidanaha, Tamasap Paramo Maha, Tamasap Paramo Data, Shanka Chakra Gadadaraha, Shivatsa Nitya Shrihi, Ajayaha, Shashvato Dhruvaha is her stuti. So in Ramayana, more than Hanumat stuti and Sugriva stuti, we have Shurpanaka stuti, Tara stuti, and Mandodari stuti. Now, she goes and praises to her brother Tarunau, Rupa Sampannau, Sukumarau, Mahavalau, Pundarika Vishalakshau, Chirakrishna Jinambarau. Those two men, young men, have done this disfiguring to me. That very moment, Khara sends 14 demons to fight Rama. Rama now advises his brother Lakshmana. From there you witness what is happening. He fights the 14 demons and the 14 demons are dead. Then Shurpanaka, understanding the situation, gives an alarm call. Like how we are getting for that flash floods or something, you get an alarm call, right? Similarly, an alarm call that 14 people are dead, you have to send the next army. But don't send a small one, send a large one. So Khara sends 14,000 demons. So the demons are now completely confident that they can vanquish Rama in the battle because he is single-handedly fighting. Apaya hi janasthana tvaritas sahabandhavah jahitvam samare mudhan yatatu kulapamsana manushautau na shaknoshi hantum vai Rama Lakshmanau Nissatvasya palpaviryasya vasaste kidrishaspidya. Khara then says, let the 14,000 go. As the 14,000 start marching, they won't have the traditional weapons such as bow, arrow. They are all Rakshasas. Whatever they find is a weapon. So they will tie thorns on a big wooden stick. They will have a cycle chain, soda bottle. All of this, they started coming, 14,000 demons. The moment Rama and Lakshmana saw this huge army of 14,000 people marching to Janasthana, Lakshmana was a bit confused, perplexed. He said, brother, what should we do? Wait, you take Sita to the hillock. There is a cave. From there, you can see what is going to happen. It is like the corporate box of IPL. From there, you go and see. From here, Virat will show his back. And Anushka will say, okay, then see. So you let both of you be there. Here we will fight. But my dear brother Rama, they are 14. Lakshmana, listen to what I say. You go. The rishis gathered now. Because rishis had originally performed Sharanagati to get these demons annihilated. Now for them, this was that watershed moment. So they were thinking, what is going to happen? Ekascha Ramo Dharmatma Katham Yuddham Bhavishyati. Ekascha Ramo Dharmatma. Rama is one on this side, and there are 14,000 people. Here he is a human, they are demons, they will have more bodily power. Dharmatma, this man will adhere only to rules. Those people don't know what is the spelling of rules. Ekascha Ramo Dharmatma Yuddham Bhavishyati. How is this Yuddham going to happen? They wondered. Kalidasa too gives a vivid description of what is going to happen. As the 14,000 people get close to Rama, Rama takes his arrow and has to hit. Kalidasa states, as soon as he took one arrow and he had to take the next to hit the second one, there was no time difference between the first and the second. It looked for a second as if 14,000 Ramas were fighting. So Sita was amazed. See, till then she had never seen a full-fledged war. So she had heard from people that Rama performed well in his academics. He passed in distinction from archery. That is all she knew. And that too she said, what bow you have broken before is a broken bow. So now Rama is fighting, she immediately tweeted. Hashtag Rama fights, and all of that they were. Now, as he started fighting, in 1.5 muhurta's time, Rama was able to kill 13,999 demons. Like in the death of Subahu and driving away of Maricha, he leaves one person here. So, this person, he goes away. How does he escape Rama's eyesight? Because there was one piece of cloth lying. He tied that as a sari, and then Rama thought, if it is a lady, I should not attack. I should give respect to her. Enough, I have killed one lady called Tataka. No more I should insult her. So he ran away. Now now Rama kills all the 13,999 people, and he is a realistic hero. Yes, there are some wounds on his body also. So he turns this side, and from the bottom, he looks to Sita, who's housed in that cave atop the hill. Now he shows his body. Now looking at that, Sita and Lakshmana, Sita starts running boulder to boulder, cliff to cliff, rock to rock. She comes down. As she gets closer to Rama, Valmiki has one good opportunity to compose a shloka. Tam drishtva shatruhantaram maharishinam sukhavaham babhuva krishna vaidehi bhartaram parishasvaje. Tam drishtva shatruhantaram. This shloka has been commented for pages together. Tam drishtva, looking at that Rama. Which Rama? The same Rama whom she insulted in Ayodhya Kandam. That my father got me married to a Striyam Purusha Vigraham, the same Rama, Tam Drishtva. Now having seen him as a Purushottama Shatruhantaram, after having vanquished the enemies in the battle, Maharishinam Sukhavaham, not for his pleasure but to bestow happiness and peace amongst the sages in the forest, Maharishinam Sukhavaham, Bhaguva Krishna Vaidehi. What did she tell that time? My father made a mistake by getting me married to you. She said, Pita me Mithiladhipa. The same Videha Raja's daughter called Vaidehi. She came closer to Rama. Bhartaram, her husband, Parishaswaje. What does that mean? Embraced. No. Parishaswaje means embraced well. What is this embraced well? There is another word, Nanna. What is that Nanna? For that the commentator says, Mahalakshmi, who is now Sita, in Shastram, in Agamam, she is treated as a repository of all herbs in her. Mahalakshmi is a medicine. So she has all the herbs that can cure a person from all wounds. So as she embraced, well, her intent was, as I embrace him, all his wounds and pains should disappear, was her thought. Rama found this embrace very heartfelt, so much so, it seems he thought for a while, the commentator says, I should have had more wounds on me. She would have hugged me even more well. This is Shringaram. Bhartaram Parishasvaje. So as this happened, sure, the 14,000th demon called Akam